Hi folks, welcome to Thursday's Coffee with John, and we are on to quite a controversial subject, I think, at least the way I look at it. I'll read the verse in a moment, but let me kind of explain why I think this is controversial. I don't know why. I genuinely don't mean to do it. I don't like provoking people. But I think out loud, and sometimes that gets me in enormous trouble. I remember, for example, back in Scotland, talking about the Church of Scotland and the rage that stirred up, especially sadly, amongst evangelicals. Or sometimes you go to a church and you're helping them and you try and assess things, and then people get really upset when you're too honest. And sometimes in your own church, you know, the people struggle with what they think you're saying. And this week I've ended up in a bit of difficulty because I wrote a report of the Nexus conference where I disagreed with some of the things that the speakers had said. And I was, believe it or not, I was actually trying to be constructive, and I was trying to help people reflect through and think about it. But the pushback has been absolutely enormous and just really quite surprising to me. So what does this have to do with 2 John? Well, 2 John, verse 8 says this: watch out that you do not lose what we have worked for, or what you have worked for, but that you may be rewarded fully. Now, we or you, it depends which manuscripts. There are different manuscripts. I think, though, it's kind of the same thing. So here's where I would go with this. I think it is possible for a church to be planted, to be soundly biblical, and then to decay, and the next generation loses. So you know the old adage which says, in a time of renewal, the church is planted, word and the spirit go together. And then in the second generation, they've got the word without the spirit, and then in the third generation, they've got neither. Well, I think there is an enormous danger that we can lose what we have worked for in that regard. I don't think this is talking about losing our salvation. But so, for example, I think you could have a very good, solid, sound, biblical denomination like the Free Church of Scotland, or like Sydney Anglicans, or you could have individual churches which have got a great heritage and a great history, but you could still lose what you're working for when you let in Antichrist teaching, when you move away from the authority of the scriptures. That can happen. I think also perhaps there's the idea here that not just leaders, but individuals that we can lose our reward for faithful service. It talks about on the day of judgment, there are those whose works are burned up, but they themselves escape just as by fire. So you know how when you've been working really hard for something and then it just all gets blown away? And I think there's a real warning for us. I think we need to pray that God would protect and preserve us. The Church of Jesus Christ will always continue. It may die in one area, like in Turkey or in North Africa, but it will resuscitate and revive in another. Individual congregations may die. We've got no guarantee to say that won't happen. But nonetheless, we don't want that. I mean, I think of the amount of work I put into St. Peter's Free Church in Dundee, and it just does my heart good to see how it continues to grow and thrive. But I would issue exactly the same warning to the folks there. Watch out that, that you do not lose what we have worked for, but that you may be rewarded fully. It's a warning I would give to myself. It's a warning in terms of the churches in here in Scots Kirk as things are developing and growing. We need to be aware of that warning. Now, I do think that the Lord loves to see his church grow and develop, and we must have that. But I think this warning is clear for us, and we should hold on to it, and we shouldn't assume that just because of our past or just because of what we've done in the past, that this guarantees the fruit and the reward in the present or the future. So, be on your guard, I guess, is the message. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Bye.